Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Go for a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a co-founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. During her journey, Isla meets new friends, including King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table, and learns valuable life lessons with every quest, sword fight, and dragon ride. Positive and uplifting stories remind us all about the importance of kindness, friendship, honesty, and positivity. Join me and an all-star cast of actors including Liam Neeson, Emily Blunt, Kristen Bell, Chris Hemsworth, among many others, in welcoming the Search for the Silver Lining podcast to the Go Kid Go network by listening today. Look for the Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Don't Blame Me. Today is a guest who we talk about you a lot, like about how you've been one of the greatest guests ever.
Oh my God.
When we were like, we need to have her back. It's Meghan Tonjes. You, like, that was, first of all, you're a Scorpio.
I am.
And you were the first Scorpio that I was like, wow, I like her. I don't hate her. And I hate almost all Scorpios. And you opened my eyes, because now there's a couple. There's a couple that I like.
You know,
there's more I don't, but there's a couple I like.
To be fair, you'll never see more than one Scorpio in a group of friends. It's like we can't trust each other.
Well, I'm not friends with any Leos.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, I'm like, oh no, you're too much.
It's a lot. But I mean, I'm a triple water too. I got a Pisces moon. I got a Cancer rising. It's all tears, baby.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
All feelings.
That's so many feelings. My Aquarius rising is afraid of that.
Oh my God! And I love an Aquarius. So
thank you. She's an Aquarius.
Mm-hmm. Listen, I've tried to love many an Aquarii, and they're fascinating. Little mysteries to themselves too. Mm-hmm. So.
That's fun. You are a mystery.
You are a mystery.
That's how I like it.
That's true. It's a good time. Well, if you guys are new here, this is an advice podcast. If you want to call in for an upcoming episode, you can leave us a voicemail at 310-694-0976. And if you're an international listener, you can send us an audio message at meghanpodcast@gmail.com.
Oh my God, so professional.
Hey, Megan, Melissa, and potential guest. So I've had a day full of fun anxiety, so I thought that I would reach out. My friends aren't giving the best advice, and by friends I mean I only reached out to one friend. But if you're my second, holla. So I've been seeing this guy for about a year, and things are going great. He's a great guy. We have so much fun together. He's a Sag. So today he hit me with the news during a lunch date that he's like, my ex reached out to me. I'm like, okay, where is this going? And I guess she's in like dental school, and she's in need of some people coming in for like cleanings. So she can, she needs so many cleanings before she can pass whatever the heck she needs to pass or whatever. And he asked me if I was okay with that, if he went in there, like his ex-girlfriend, cleaning his teeth. Now, they were together throughout high school, maybe a year or two after, some on and off. And, every time we talk about her, like, he never has the best things to say about her. So I just find it funny that he wants to do this favor for her. And, of course, he backs it up by saying, I was really close with his family, and, like, I'm sure, her mom, had her reach out because, I guess, long story short, her mom helped him get into, like, the career field that he's in now, which is really great and all, but I just don't feel like he needs to be doing these favors for her. So I asked him, like, if it was the other way around, if he'd be fine, and he said, yeah. And then he also brought up the fact that, like, when we began dating, I would see my ex-boyfriend, like once or twice for a coffee date. We got out of a 4-year relationship. So he had brought that up, like, kind of like, I don't know. It seems weird. And he already has a lot of like girl friends anyway. And I'm just trying to be understanding so I'm not like this psycho bitch, but I just feel like I have the right to be upset. And I just don't want him to go. But I don't know. So I don't know what you think. I just feel like I've been very patient throughout this whole relationship. And I mean, he's really patient and understanding too, but it's like, where do we draw the line and why do we feel like we need to help our exes out when, you know, they're not there to help us. They don't benefit us. Like him going to this doesn't benefit him. So why do we still need to do favors for exes? So just curious what your thoughts were, because now I'm getting ready to pop off. But thank you so much. Love the podcast. You're amazing.
Well, you know, it's like he said, I'm going to go get a free cleaning. And she heard, you're going to fuck your ex. Like that's exactly what came to mind. Oh God. I mean, you've been with someone for a year, she said, right? And so everything that I'm hearing, I'm just listening to like how you're saying what you're saying. All I'm hearing the anxiety. I'm hearing like insecurity about what's going to happen. Why would he need to talk to someone from his past unless there's specifically something in it for him? And what is it that's in it for him? And
a free teeth cleaning. And
I think that you're going to suffer so much in life if you let your anxiety and not even just anxiety, your insecurity kind of run the show. This is someone who's given you no reason not to trust him. This is someone that you love, that you're with for a reason. And I just kind of feel like he came to you. He could have just gone and got a free cleaning and not said anything to you. And it wouldn't have been cheating, you know? So I think the fact that he came to you to ask how you feel about it is a good sign. And you are allowed to feel the way you feel, but instead of stopping there and just saying, well, I feel uncomfortable and so this shouldn't happen, I think it would be better for you to examine where that's coming from, what happened in past relationships, what you're afraid is going to happen in this one, and realize that you can't bring all of that baggage and expect someone to just deal with it. This is a new relationship. And just because someone doesn't have great things to say or is staying super friendly with an ex, doesn't mean that there's not still a connection of knowing there. Like their families were close. They knew each other as teenagers. Wouldn't give it all this energy of, okay, well, this is, you know, he's just doing something that's wrong. It's not worth being. I think there's something else that you're upset about. And this is just, you know, there's no reason not to trust him.
Yeah, I would say, I doubt he really wants to do this. I think he probably feels awkward and obligated. And I think he probably talked to his mom about it. She was like, you got to do it. And he's like, I don't want to. Also, if he doesn't have great things to say about her, you know what you don't want to do with your ex? Hang out. Do you know what you really don't want to do? Have them like this close with their hands in your mouth. Like that is so uncomfortable and not fun for him. Like maybe he wanted to like not even open the message and accidentally did. It was like, fuck, I have to say yes. Like, fair. I don't think that is necessarily like. And then what I'll say is I think, because what you say, I think you're totally spot on. And then I would bring into this the fact that you asked, first of all, you can never ask someone like, well, how would you feel if this happened? Because they're always, if they're not seeing why you're upset, they're gonna be like, oh, I'd be fine. And I've done that before. And I'm like, oh, well, I don't like that.
Yeah, don't ask a question if you don't want the answer.
Exactly. And then here's the other part that you like threw in very casually that he brought up, that it was pretty similar to the fact. Also, I would dare I say, not even really that similar, and I would say yours is definitely more intense, that you went on multiple coffee dates with your ex, and then you were like, but we were together for 4 years. I'm sorry, you had said that he had been with his girlfriend all through high school, a couple years after, and then like pittered out. So that's at least 6 years. Yeah. And so that, like, I don't know why you're treating it differently. And so I don't want to be I don't want to be an ass, but kind of like what you're saying, it's like, what are you bringing in from the past? Was when you were meeting with your ex, was it not that innocent? Were you trying to figure out if you still had feelings?
It sounds like there wasn't closure in your relationship. And so you had to extend the conversations beyond it. And so you're nervous that there wasn't closure in this relationship. And so that's going to extend it and possibly open up this old love. Yeah. But I think, listen, you can't control anyone. If someone meets up with an ex and all of a sudden they feel things and they break up with you, that's how it's going to play out. But you can't hold on to someone so tight that they can't even interact with people that were in their life before for a significant portion of it. So for you to go on a coffee date, listen, there's an intimacy to having someone's hands in your mouth to do a cleaning, but there's
the word date and coffee date.
But there's date and coffee date. And I just feel like ideally you would be able to be on good terms with an ex. And if it's possible for people to be friends with their ex and not want to leave the relationship and not be lying to you.
Yeah.
So I don't, listen, you're going to do what you're going to do. But I think if you come into this, how you come into this and how you deal with it is it's the foundation for the rest of this relationship and how you're going to deal with anyone coming from the past. And if you're not secure in what you have, then you might want to look further into that.
Yeah, because I think you need to evaluate, like you said, I think it probably was something about closure with you and who you were meeting up with, because you're not seeing this as being the same. Mm-hmm. And I think that you are reading into this in a very different way. And like you said, like he can't, if he's gonna leave and he's gonna fall back in love with this girl, listen, nothing you do or say can change any of that.
No. And you're not going to do yourself any service by trying to keep someone in a box so that they can't interact with anyone that they may or may not feel things for.
Yeah. And then also not have that apply to you. Like that's like, then it feels like, well, why am I in a relationship if you get to go do all of that stuff, but I'm not allowed to?
Yeah. And this person asked one friend and said, okay, well now I got to ask a podcast. And it makes perfect sense to me why wherever you live, this girl might not have more than a few friends and needs to get these credits to continue their program. So obviously you're going to reach out. Listen, I'm a musician. When I play a show, you think I'm inviting people that I'm all into? No, I need people to buy tickets. Yeah. Okay.
Do you know how many Facebook invites I get from people I went to camp with to come to their comedy show? I'm like, I haven't seen you since we were 12.
Yeah. Everyone thinks they're a best friend that was invited to the show. Okay. Yes. There are men that I've slept with that I made show up night up and pay for a ticket. Okay. Yes. So I'm not playing.
I love that energy.
But yeah, I just think that this is about something bigger, and you're building this up in your head to mean more than it does. And your partner is saying to you, this is what it is, and you're not believing them. And that is indicative of a huge problem and something that you're going to suffer through if you don't start dealing with your own self now. All you can do is control yourself.
Yeah.
That's it.
I also doubt this ex even really, do you know what I mean? Like you said, I think it's probably slim pickings. I'm sure he was the last on the list. She's like, I need one more. And he's the only other person I know. I don't want to, like, both of them be like, oh, yeah, no
one wants to ask an ex to do this.
No, like, I don't think either. I think you're kind of you're romanticizing the idea that like, oh, it's lustful. It's going to be sexy. Maybe you watch the episode of Friends when Rachel and Barry fucked in the dentist chair. Yeah. But like,
wow. Bring it back there.
I'm really mourning the fact that it's no longer on Netflix, but it's fine.
I'm okay with it. Let your boyfriend go get a free teeth cleaning in Trump's America, okay? Wherever we can get free cleaning, medical care, anything, we go for it, regardless of if it's an ex.
Watch it like a month from now. Your ex is like, hey, I work at Sephora. Do you want some? Or I work at Fenty Beauty. Do you want some highlighter? And you're like, what are they getting out of it?
If this girl needs other people to sign up for her college course, why don't you offer yourself to go in and you can have the appointment right after him?
That's true. Mm-hmm. Like, does she need someone else? I can come too. Just don't bite her.
I'm down to get free dental care.
Me too. I don't have dental insurance anymore.
Yeah, if anything, if you called in hoping for advice and really you just helped her find more people for her degree.
Yeah. If you're local, we'll come. Because I really could use a teeth cleaning. I really could.
Let us know.
Well, best of luck. Give us an update. Let us know what happens. And I would love to know what your astrological sign is.
Yes, please.
Yeah, because that would be more helpful than knowing he's a Sagittarius.
Yeah, you sound like a water sign. A Cancer?
Pisces? Maybe. I could see a Pisces.
Feels Pisces.
Feels kind of Pisces-y.
This is an astrology podcast now.
I like to
it's been. Yeah.
And then we get like every few comments, it's like someone from like the Midwest being like, this is so LA. And I'm like, this is not LA at all. We talk about never leaving our house, not going to clubs. The only thing we talk about is astrology.
Listen, crystals.
It's the only LA thing.
And listen, when I was in the Midwest, I grew up with astrology books in my house and my mom was Catholic. So this is also a Midwest thing.
So no longer can say anything. Delete your comments if you ever commented that.
Block yourself so I don't have to do it.
Good one. Should we go on to the next?
Yes.
Hi, Megan and Melissa. I'm 24. I've been in my relationship now for about a year, a little bit over a year. And lately I've just been feeling a lot of insecurity. And I mean, I've been feeling this way for a while now, on and off. And like, I've been really open with him about where I've been at. And he's been very he's been hearing me really well and like trying to make me feel comfortable. Over the past summer, we moved in together and a few things popped up that really sparked some trust issues. I've dated 3 people before him pretty seriously, and all of them ended with something to do with cheating or like emotional cheating even, and just like a lot of it was comparing myself to other women. And so I feel like that's something I'm still working on getting over. And in this relationship, he has always been very understanding of that and very like loving. But I guess one thing that's been bothering me lately, and I don't know if this is like a me problem that I need to figure out on my own or if it's something that I need to talk to him about, just because I feel like the more I talk about it, the more of a problem it becomes. And I also don't want to be controlling in any way. Like, I want it to be a happy, healthy relationship where I'm not like totally swarming him with my emotions. But he's been liking girl selfies and like bikini pics on Instagram more. And like before we dated, he would like gas them up being like, oh, you look so good, yada yada. And now he doesn't, but he still like likes these like hot girls bikini pictures. And maybe that's just me being insecure, but part of me is like, why isn't he, you know, promoting me? He doesn't really post pictures of us on social media. I mean, he doesn't post much, but like, I guess I just want to feel like he wants to show me off. And instead of doing that, he likes other girls' bikini pics sometimes. And like, I just feel like that's kind of disrespectful. But again, that might just be me projecting, and he might be fine. And I guess I'm just curious about your thoughts on that. Like, everybody has different dynamics in their relationship, but like, what's crossing a line? And like, is that a boundary I should set, or is that something I just need to get over on my own terms?
Oi, oi, oi.
It's so hard to like drag them when they tell you how much they love you.
No, I know. I'm not going to drag her,
it's not
though.
that hard. No,
I'm not going to. No, it's really not that hard for me at fucking all. One person told me that like, it's okay, feel free to roast me. And I'm like, so everyone has said that. I just like, they cut it out.
Just
like,
want you to know. Yeah.
I'm not even going to drag you. I think that the really important thing that I would like to know, it is, and I think is a really important distinction, are, does he know these people? Like, are these his like high school friends or his home friends or like your group of friends, or
just random people?
Is it random people? Because I think like I mean, it was a very early conversation I had with my boyfriend that I like laid it out there to begin with. I was like, hi, I'm a highly insecure person. And I personally, like, it doesn't make me feel good. I'm also like, I'm also not attracted, like any guy that I like was ever even into. If I saw that they were liking a bunch of like hot girl pictures on Instagram, I was like, I was just like, like that was just, it wouldn't make me super attracted to that. And that's just like, and I have no issue with it. I'm all for gassing like women up. I'm all for that. I follow lots of hot girl bikini stuff, but I can know my own feelings of being like, this makes me feel inadequate. And there are some people that I also don't follow or I mute. And even if it's people I know in real life who make me feel bad about myself. And so if there's someone out there, whether it's a person that I know or if it's someone I don't know, who I look at their stuff and it makes me feel bad, it would make me feel bad seeing my partner like that, because I'm comparing myself to that person. But that's not on that person. And that's like here's a thing that I have, and I'm just going to let you know ahead of time with all of that. But the difference would be if he knows them, because that's what I'd say. Like, my like best guy friends and if one of my best guy friends will post a thirst trap, I'm like, my God, you look so fucking hot, get it. Or like, and like if I'm in a bikini pic, like my straight and gay friends like would literally be like, damn girl, that like one of my best guy friends is straight, and literally every time I see him, he's like, you're doing squats, nice tight ass. Like, and it's not sexual, dude. It's not it's gassing up in the same way that like girlfriends gas each other up and are like, oh my God, like get it, like you look bomb. And I think there's a distinction there, like if it is one of his good friends. But I do think if it's just like a like every once in a while.
Yeah. I mean, look, the first question is, why are you sitting there scrolling through his social media to see what he's doing on your feed? I think that's a kind of, that's a waste of your time and your energy. And you already know that it's going to make you feel a certain way. But I don't think it's something that you have to deal with on your own, because it's about you and your relation to what's happening. But it also can, when you've started to, obviously you're opening this up and figuring it out, it can be the beginning of a conversation with him to let him know, hey, this is on me and this is my issue, but I just want to talk to you as my partner, as someone that is my support system. I'm feeling this way. And again, you never know what he's going to say. Maybe he's not aware of it. Maybe he's, maybe he's not aware of it. Maybe he'll be more mindful of it now that he knows. It's kind of a hard area because, with digital media, it's like a whole new landscape of things that people can get insecure about or upset about, or can trigger certain things in your relationship in a way that like our parents didn't have to deal with.
Yeah.
Like this is just a whole new world. And so I think there has to be more discussions about, you know, what is kind of non-negotiables for you? What are things that you're just not comfortable with happening? But also where obviously we can see from you've had 3 serious relationships where everyone's cheated.
Yeah, this is true. I'm sure this is
Absolutely.
just triggering.
You're trying to step ahead of something that you think is going to be painful by catching it early. And I think that is so hard to do. And my question also is, if this is the only thing that's happening that's kind of indicating that maybe something's going on, it's not like you're finding DMs or texts or he's disappearing and coming back, you know, very stereotypically like lipstick on his collar.
And glitter.
Yeah. I think that it's worth not bringing all of that baggage from old relationships into this one. Those can definitely kind of, you know, give you insight into how things happen. But I also would start looking at like the partners that you're choosing too, and maybe is there a common thread that you're seeing with him beyond just photos that he's liking, and instead of focusing on that, you're kind of like, well, let me deal with this symptom right here. But ultimately, I mean, yeah, I think in a relationship, you have to understand that every person is their own person, and they are going to do things that have nothing to do with you, that aren't personal attacks, that really could, I mean, listen, for some people, seeing people in bikinis is the same as me seeing Shih Tzu puppies. I like a lot of them. It's all in my Explore page. It's all that shows up, and I can't help it. And I don't want to. And, you know, that could be part of it too. But the question is he only liking girls in bikinis, or is he liking a bunch of things and the only things you're seeing are the girls in bikinis because your mind is just focusing on it?
Yeah. And then I think there's also, I think you need to treat, and I'm not saying you're doing it a certain way, but if you've come in with all of this baggage, I think there's such a negative connotation with baggage that there can be a fear. Well, so much of it is like this fear, like I have so much baggage, I don't want to scare him off. Or I don't want to do any of that stuff. And
I don't want to freak him out.
Yeah. And this is the thing, like if you've been through all of this stuff and let's say it's pretty recent, and who knows, maybe your picker's off, maybe it's not, but you've been through this kind of stuff, you can't assume this is the thing with triggers are you can only deal with your triggers once they're not actively happening. You can't be triggered and then be like, oh no, I'm going to figure it out. It's like, I need to let everyone know my triggers. And now I'm not being bombarded with them and like sending me back to this other place. I can work on myself and I can make my own limits and I can start to test my triggers on my own accord. But that's the thing. It's like, you need to give him like, you're not damaged goods because you've been through all of this kind of stuff. You need to like, and it sucks because it has nothing to do with you. You have to be like, really open up with him, and not even like these like tiny little like crumbs. It needs to be this conversation of, these are the last 3 relationships that I had. These are the things. And also I'm figuring out my triggers. And I think one of the triggers I figured out is when I see you like these pictures, and I always say this, which my therapist says, which if it's hysterical, it's historical. And so if he's liking these pictures, even as you're saying it, you're like, even as I say, it's like it's just liking pictures. He's not like having sex with other people. But when that emotion gets to a different place, it's because it's been there before, and you have to unpack that and be like, so I'm now realizing when you like those pictures, I get so upset, and I'm realizing I'm taking it back to my ex who I think like, and that made me, I felt so insecure and they cheated on me. And that was how this happened. And now I'm realizing that is giving me those same feelings. And I know that's not what you're trying to do, or you're consciously doing it all, but it would be really beneficial for me if you could not do that, because this is the other part of it. Like, it's not hard. And this is like when I had the conversation with my boyfriend, I was like, here's the thing. You can watch porn. You can look at those girls. That's totally fine. I would just love if you didn't follow them and if you didn't like them. If you have if you want to search them and see it, like, I'm fine with that. It's just for me in the sense that like, it's like, I know there are pictures and like people who are triggering out there for me, but the harder it is for me to access it, if it's not right at my fingertips, then I have to go through my internal process of being like, am I going to search this? Do I want to feel triggered right now? As opposed to suddenly coming across it and not being prepared for it. Fair. And I think that's the other part of it, because if it is an insecurity thing of you don't want him, because I also think like this is kind of the start of it, but then you need to work on your insecurities. And I'm always a big fan of, I recommend therapy so much, but you can't, at a certain point, as someone who's been in therapy for the last like two years. How long have I been in therapy now?
I think a little bit longer than 2.
Oh my God, it's amazing. I love
Anniversary.
it. It's zero tomorrow. But I learned that I was so stubborn about, well, this is me. It's all about me. I know me better than anyone else. I can do this. And my therapist was like, I hate to break it to you, sweetie. You've been living in this body for like, at that point, like 24 years. If you could have done it, you already would have done it.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't feel super insecure if you could fix it. Like you're not choosing to feel this way. You're not, and with anything like anxiety, depression, it's like
you're managing it.
Yeah. It's like, and if there was a solution and it was inside of you, it wouldn't take 22 years to get there. Like 24 years,
Yeah.
you would have gotten there already. You need some help.
It's also, you should just really have a lot of compassion for yourself too, because you said you're 24, you've been in this relationship for a year, and you've had 3 other serious relationships, which means you have been monogamous and dating people since you were a teenager. And you probably haven't even had the time to process any of the endings of those relationships because you've gone into the next thing and carried that over. And so I don't think the solution for everyone is like, oh, I haven't had time to process this. I need to break up and just be on my own. And the reality is that a lot of us are going to have to process things in relationships. And if we're lucky enough to have partners that are willing to kind of go on that journey with us and grow in their own ways, that's really incredible. So I think that, obviously it's not working for you to kind of keep it all to yourself and not say anything because you're writing into a podcast hoping that like strangers will direct you, and your partner is sitting right there probably just going through scrolling and liking things and not even realizing how it's affecting you. So I think it definitely is a conversation, but it's all about the energy you bring into it. So if you come in and you're angry and you're upset, you're not going to get a great reaction, and someone's just going to say, well, that's your issue and what.
As a podcast network, our first priority has always been audio and the stories we're able to share with you. But at Realm, we also sell some pretty cool merch, and organizing that was made both possible and easy with Shopify. When you think about successful businesses like Aloe or Allbirds or Skims, an often overlooked secret is the business behind the business that makes selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. That's because nobody does selling better than Shopify. It's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret that's definitely worth talking about is that Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%. That's more happy customers and way more sales going. If you're hoping to grow your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
And depending on who they are, or start a fake account and just follow people, which maybe that is helpful for you that you don't see it. But I think once you start putting people in like dark corners where they have to do things to avoid upsetting you, someone's going to start feeling they're walking on eggshells, whereas there should just be a conversation and understanding and more intention behind how you are taking in the social media and how you're kind of looking at everything that he's doing, and also an intention on how he's going about his social media, understanding that you're attached to it. But it's not bad. I don't get any bad vibes from this question of like, oh, he's cheating on you. I just think that there's a lot of processing that has to happen on your own and with him collectively.
Yeah, no, I think that's it. I think it's that if you're going to ask him to do something to help you not feel insecure, you also have to work on yourself to not to feel more confident and feel more secure in yourself, which is hard. It's like definitely very hard. And it wasn't until I was in a serious relationship that I was able to see, I was like, oh wow, it is really hard for a partner to date someone who's super insecure. I was like, this is really hard for you. And I was like, I hate that. Like, this is always like that. This was my shit. This was the stuff that I always dealt with. And now this is affecting you. And it sucks to see that, because at a certain point, no one else can figure that out and know how to do that. And if you also really care about him, or if you care about any relationship that you're in and you're dealing with your own stuff, it does affect your partner. And at a certain point, you should always like do something for yourself. But even if you're so super depressed and it's like, you're like, I don't care about it for me, like whatever, lost cause, all of that stuff, and you see it affects other people, probably won't be the reason that you stay getting help, but it can be like the inspiration. Like, you know what? I need to focus on this. I've dealt with this for so long and I've been fine with this, but it's not fine for the people I love. Like, they hate to see me hurting like this. And I think it would be a good chance for you.
Yeah, I just think there's a way to own how you're feeling in your own process, while also letting other people in. You know, the thing that you learn as you get older too is I don't have to be so connected to everything in a way that I can't separate myself. Like, I can tell friends and people that I love what I'm going through and not expect them to save me from it, and not expect them to change everything to accommodate me. It's just I'm letting you into the process. I'm letting you know what's going on in my mind so that I can keep accountable to myself, so that you're more aware of how I'm feeling. And this can bring us closer. It doesn't have to necessarily tear us apart. Yeah. And I would, again, for a lot of these questions, it's just kind of like, trust the relationship you're in. And if you're not trusting the relationship you're in, you need to start figuring out, is it because you don't trust yourself, because you don't trust other people, or because that relationship itself has given you other red flags and you're kind of ignoring that and focusing on the one that feels the most sensational kind of in this era.
Yeah. Yeah. Very true. Very true. Well, best of luck. Give us an update. And if you're in our Facebook group and there's like other, because you had mentioned that there were other like stuff that had happened and you want to get more. Yeah. Hit us up in the Facebook group.
Like our photos on Instagram and leave us,
please do,
inappropriate comments.
I know. I'm always like, should I start posting thoughty bikini pics?
Yes, absolutely. # booty revolution. Let's do it.
Okay, so I started dating this guy like 3-ish months ago. We started dating mid-October. So whatever, we've been hooking up, and like it's been fine. It's been good. In the beginning, like I didn't really come, and then I like kind of didn't say anything, and he didn't ask, and then I like brought it up, and I was like, I didn't come, and like I know I didn't bring it up, but you also didn't ask, and like I told him how I felt about that. He was like very like much like apologetic. Was like, no, like I want to make sure you're having like a good time too, and whatever, yada yada. He's like been trying so hard. He's like been really like been putting in effort, like taking feedback. Like he's really been trying, and like I appreciate it, and like I like see his effort, and I'm like, I just like don't know what to do to make this better for me, because I came once, but then other times it's like I just came back from this place, and like I could not like get in the mood, like no matter what, like I couldn't get in the mood, like, and like I feel like that happens to me so often, and it's like not like not attracted to him, or he's not like doing the right things or anything. It's like I still enjoy my time with him, and like we have fun, and like he still like is attractive to me. It's just like I feel like my sex drive just fucking goes away sometimes, and it like makes no sense. Like after that I'm like horny the whole fucking week before I see him, and then it's like, oh, we're here, like he's going down on me, and I'm like, fuck, like I don't feel anything. But like it's not bad, it's good, but it's like I'm not there. Yeah, I just like, this is like super TMI, but I just don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to like fix this, make myself more into it, like not make him feel like he's the whole problem, because I don't think it's just him either.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess the question is, if you're masturbating, when you're masturbating, are you getting off with yourself? Because then there's not anything functionally that's wrong with the system of it. It's just there's something that's lost in the connection, either with him or leading up to, feeling the anxiety, or you're unable to kind of communicate what you do for yourself in a way that he can replicate. Yeah. And so I think first diving into the fact of, do you really like this person? And there's definitely a difference between being attracted to someone and being willing to have sex with them and feeling like that deep connection. And you might be someone that needs a deeper connection to get off. I have not had great experiences with coming during sex. It's not.
We are the statistic majority.
Yeah. And I can get myself off, but I've mostly had hookup experiences. And so that's not really great to foster that like communication or that constant, like, it sounds like this person you've been hooking up with for a while, and he wants to learn and he wants to figure out what pleases you. And so if you want to go down that road, I have suggestions for things you could do that might be pleasing to you. Whereas, first of all, I would bring in sex toys. I would maybe mutually masturbate with each other, or masturbate in front of him and show him what you're doing, and then let him kind of do other things while you're doing that. Not everything is going to come down to, obviously, penetration doesn't work for everyone. And sometimes someone going down on you doesn't feel like what you're used to. And so I think we have this very narrow version of like what we imagine sex and pleasure is going to be. And then we get confused because, you know, the goal isn't always an orgasm. We're having fun. It feels good, but it's not quite what we envision. It's not quite what we want.
Yeah.
And so we're kind of just accepting, well, this is good enough. And I think that this is a moment for you to explore. This isn't something to fix. This isn't a problem. This is an opportunity for you to learn how to communicate what you want, and then also figure out how to involve another person if you want to involve another person at all. And so, you know, again, this is someone that you're hooking up with. I would say keep dating.
Yeah.
Like date other people and see if maybe you feel that constant connection throughout.
3 months.
It's been 3 months.
Which I was like, that's so quick. And then you were like, and I haven't come. And I was like, that's so long.
It changes immediately,
shit. Yeah,
right?
I was like, my God, it's been forever.
Yeah. And I mean, I think, you know, listen, have a night where you're like, it's all about me tonight. Like, I want to be the one that's the focus. But if he's doing something and you're not feeling it, it might just be that he's not hitting the right spot in the right way, or, you know, you're just used to maybe sex toys or a different kind of pressure, different kind of vibration. Yeah. And that's what you need. And there's nothing wrong with that. There are a lot of people that use sex toys. We were just talking earlier. I was talking about one called Eva, which the little legs of it go under your labia and it sits on your clitoris, and it can stay in during everything. So you could have that on, and he could be doing other things to you, or kissing you, or maybe you need someone to talk dirty to you while you're touching yourself. There's so many different ways. And I think that I would use this not as because you're bringing all this anxiety and like you sound sad as you're talking about it. And I totally understand that. But I think that if you are attracted to him and you want to do this, use it to explore. And if you are just like, well, I'm attracted to him, but nothing's happening, also pay attention to that. And maybe he's just not the person to do this with.
I think there's something to be said there, because I think when you're, first of all, I would say if anyone who's listening, if you have like your sex drive has completely gone away, or you're like worried about it in general, totally talk to a gynecologist. Like for sure. Great option. I think for you, that wouldn't necessarily be mine, because you're saying 1 week I'm so horny, the next week I'm not. I would also track it with your period cycle and see if there's
birth control,
if there's something there. And also even just track your moods. You're like, oh, am I really horny when I've been in like a great mood? And like, oh, are these weeks like the week before my period that I'm PMSing? Am I really not so much in that? Or what are these things? What are the constants that are happening as this is kind of tracking? Or even if it's just like cycles in general, you're like, oh, it's every other week, or like it's the first week of the month that I'm really into that, and then I'm not really for this other time. Or is it that you had been masturbating more, or you've been masturbating less? Like figure out how that timeline kind of goes. And then I would also say, like, you're so attracted to him when you're talking to him and like the whole leading up, and then you get there. And I think you can think someone is really attractive and not want to have sex with them, but also really like them as a person. And it gets confusing because
maybe it's
like,
a makeout friend, not a fucking friend.
Yeah.
You know?
Like there's something where it's like, you can think someone's like so attractive and then we've got great chemistry. Like we talk so much and I really love their personality and all of that stuff, but it's still, like you said, like it could just also just not be it. And it sounds like, I'm going to assume it sounds like you've either masturbated or come with partners, because you brought it up to him with, hey, I haven't come, but you didn't say I've never come before.
Yeah,
so
that's
it
a
sounds like,
question.
you know, you know that 3 months, like that this month into it, you're like, and you said you came once and it wasn't like my first orgasm. I think you are coming.
It's just not with this person right now.
Yeah. And I think there's something to be said about like build up. And I don't know if he's awkward, like if it's one of those things that like you get there and he like is one of those guys, where it's like one of those guys where you're like texting or whatever, like, oh my God, I'm gonna like do such nasty stuff to you, and you get there and you're like, what are you gonna do? It's like stuff. And you're like
everyone in the room cackling because we've all experienced
literally where it's
this.
like they talk such a big game and then you get there and it's like, hey, do you want some like water? And you're like, I thought you were gonna fucking like fuck the shit out of me.
Yeah.
You said you were gonna break my pussy, dude. Like, what are you doing here? Offering to make me a grilled cheese. Being like, would you want to watch a movie? And it's like, what? So I don't know if there's like this like difference of he's maybe a little shy. So when you're talking to him and you're texting, like he has that more confidence and you're really attracted to that. And then you get there in person and it's kind of just, it's falling a little flat.
Yeah.
So I would say, I think a great way too, if you know how like orgasms work for you, and like, because here's the thing, I don't know, I can like tell someone how to go down on me, but like only after they've gone down on me once, because like I don't have like a video of every other guy that's gone down on me and be like, this is what he did. I'm like, I don't know, I'm up here, you're down there. I don't like, but if you do it, I could be like, okay, well now that you're there, I can give you directions now, but like I can't just like tell you. But if it's like masturbating or whatever, or if there are specific things that you know that you like, or if there are like any big like kinks and turn-ons that you have, I would also incorporate like sexting, like and something like that to really build that anticipation. And then when you start hanging out with him, I think there also needs to be this. I took Shan Boudram's what is the quiz, for
the game of desire,
and it's the one that's what your turn on quiz or something like that. And I took it for me, and then I took it in my mind I took it again, like pretending to be
Megan's like, I took it for me, and then in my mind I took it for everyone I know.
No, and I took it for him, and that's very me. I'm very much like, what's my horoscope today? What's everybody else's horoscope today?
I need to know what everyone's doing today.
I need to know everything at all times. And so I totally could guess what Motz's was immediately, and then mine, I was like, oh, I think I know what mine was. And mine was, it was like, it's just like compliments, or like it's vocal sort of thing. So like the biggest turn on for me is like, you look so fucking hot right now. And I'm like, cool, dripping, let's go. Like, but there are so many different ways of that. And a lot of the time, and Shan talks about it, a lot of the time, a huge majority of men, statistically, are visual. So if they see, and like, that's what Monsters is. And I was like, well, cool. I wear Diane Keaton sweaters every day. So let me remind myself, throwing a bra once every month to be like, sup. But so there's that visual thing, and that's an unspoken thing. And that's immediately in the mood, visual, got it, good. And it can be very different. And so there are all these other different ones. It can be like, and like you were saying, like that those deep conversations, you need those deeper relationships, and that's what turns you on. And I think you need to figure that out, because I think whatever's happening with whatever your turn on is, it's not there when you're in person, and it doesn't mean it can't get there, but you need to do whatever it is that will get you there. And then if it doesn't, then it's also not him.
Yeah, and it's not like a defeat if this isn't the person that magically makes you come, like just because you're attracted to him. I just think that there's more to dive into, and there are questions that I would ask back about, like, you know, have you gotten off with other partners? Were those hookup situations, or were those full-on relationships? Maybe the hookup place you just don't feel comfortable. Maybe there's trauma that has happened, or when you were younger, or recently, or something that's unresolved that this person reminds you of, or the situation reminds you of. But yeah, don't feel defeated. First of all, it's a long life, and there's a lot of fucking to be had. So, you know, you're going to have time to figure this out, and it's going to change. There might be things that worked for you a few years ago that don't work now. And so, again, it's all about exploration. If this is a person you enjoy being around, have him take his time, figure things out, try different stuff, watch porn together, mutually masturbate, sex. I mean, and if none of that works, you know, start evaluating if this is the person that you really want to do that with at all.
Yeah, because I mean, he sounds like fine. Like he sounds like he's a nice dude. Like
sounds like he felt bad when you didn't realize you were getting off. Which it's amazing to me how many men
that's what I was
do
gonna say.
not. They just assume because you're vocalizing and you're wet that you have gotten off, and it's like no.
It wasn't until the first time, like Mott's my boyfriend and I hooked up, that that I was like, oh my god, this is a guy who I've never had a guy ever bore ask me like, oh, did you? I've never faked it, but I never had someone ask me, and I had never come with a partner.
Hi, this is Rob Benedict.
And I am Richard Spate. We were both on a little show you might know called Supernatural.
It had a pretty good run, 15 seasons, 327 episodes.
And though we have seen, of course, every episode many times, we figured, hey, now that we're wrapped, let's watch it all again.
And we can't do that alone. So we're inviting the cast and crew that made the show along for the ride. We've got writers, producers, composers, directors, and we'll of course have some actors on as well, including some certain guys that played some certain pretty iconic brothers.
It was kind of a little bit of a left field choice in the best way possible.
The note from Kripke was, he's great, we love him, but we're looking for like a really intelligent Duchovny type.
With 15 seasons to explore, it's going to be the road trip of several lifetimes. So please join us and subscribe to Supernatural then and now.
Until him and I started dating, and it was like, and I was like, no, he's like, oh, okay, let's and I was like, what? You care? So I do wonder, you asking him that, or you telling him that, was that also kind of like a turn off to you that it's someone
you even had to tell him?
Yeah. And because I'll be honest, like, is that kind of a dick thing? Yeah. Do I feel that? 100%. Like that automatically, me hooking up with someone, if they didn't even like attempt to go down on me and it was just them, and he could be inside me, and I'm completely unattracted to.
I've literally
had
men that just immediately go inside of me, and I'm like, I don't think you understand how this works.
No, and then
now
don't you
hurts,
just and now you're
it's
just like
trauma.
I'm not attracted to you now. Now you make me feel icky, and I'm like I don't like that. And they could also be that, and it's like, well, here, let me try and salvage this and say, by the way, I didn't come, but also like if you don't want to have to say that. You're not eliminating.
Totally
I mean, you might be eliminating a portion of the population, but it's not. You're not like looking for a unicorn.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you can open up your expectations for especially that first time or the first few times you sleep with someone, and I think in hookup culture, it's like there's more misses and hits sometimes if you're not used to advocating for yourself or communicating exactly what you like. But by all accounts, this sounds like it's going on for a while. Try it out, see what happens. Yeah. But again, don't be afraid to say, you know what, I like him, I'm attracted to him, but that doesn't mean I have to fuck him just because I fucked him once.
Yeah. Oh my God. 100%.
Because eventually you get to a point like me where I haven't had sex in a few years and I'm like, I'm not sleeping with anyone until it's vastly different from the experiences I've had, which at the time felt like enough because it was my first experience feeling wanted in this body. And so that felt like pleasure. But then as it kept going on, I realized I was giving so much more pleasure and expected of me because I like giving. Yeah. That was enough. And those people weren't checking in to make sure that my needs were met or what I wanted. There was an emotional connection that I needed to follow through. And so the next situation I'm in will look vastly different from those former situations. And that's okay. That's growth.
The amount of mind-blowing blowjobs I've given to guys who never made me come.
Many.
I literally think about that now. I'm like, I wish I unsuck all your dicks. Except I don't, because like I'm still the best that you've ever, and I know it.
Listen, but still get texts from ex situations that are like, I just remember how it sounded. And I'm like, and you can remember how it sounded forever because it's never happening again.
Never, ever, ever, ever again at all.
Oh, bless.
But I also wonder if a guy, and this is my generalization for the straight, like cisgender males that I interact with in my life, if they have made girls come before, they know if someone's faking. And so I do wonder if he's never made a girl come before because he had no idea. And you didn't say you faked it. You just
said you didn't.
You said you didn't. And I don't think you faked it. You sound pretty straightforward. You don't sound like someone who did. No. So I also think that he's never been with someone who's told him, I didn't come.
And maybe he's just like a really sweet seeming person. A lot of people wanted to spare his feelings or didn't want to go further into explaining their own. It could be a mix of things. But I think that, my friend Evian Whitney, she just talked about how she's had, she wanted everyone to kind of make a pledge of like, from this day moving forward, we're not going to have sex when we don't want to, regardless of what kind of partnership we're in or that we're expected to. We're really going to pay attention to our bodies and have sex only we want to have. And I think that's another resource, Evian, because she's a sexuality doula and she talks about like just feeling good within your body and getting you to a place where you can even welcome that pleasure and feel that pleasure and accept it. And so I think it definitely comes down to communication, but ultimately it comes down to just knowing that you're okay with yourself and that at the end of the day, you feel comfortable communicating what you want and what you need. And not every sexual situation has to end with anyone getting off. But if you consistently find yourself in situations where you're pleasing someone and it's not the same care paid to you, it's time to change it up.
Maybe it's as basic as he has those glitter stars on the ceiling and you just like, I can't focus.
It could be
or
literally
his room
anything.
Smells.
Yeah,
like,
it could be
you know
again.
What I mean?
It could be so many things. So it really needs to. You really need to get down to the heart of. Do I just think that because I'm attracted to someone and there's no good reason for me not to fuck them that I should fuck them? Because if that's the case, or I slept with them once and so I have to continue figuring this out until it works, life is too, it's too long and too short at the same time. So I just think try what you try here, but don't beat yourself up because one person that you've been with, you're not getting off with. It's fine.
Yeah.
You're going to be okay.
Yeah. You'll be fine. You'll have worse sex later in your life too.
Listen, there's worse sex to come. There's better sex to come. It's, it's a grab bag.
Yeah. It's time for a break, guys, and we'll be right back. up, bitches? We're back from our break. Let's get into the rest.
I'm 20 years old and I have masturbated since 14 maybe. I lost my virginity at 16 and I have been sexually active since then. And I have a boyfriend now and we are dating for 7 months now. Sorry for getting specific, but I guess it might help with the advice. So I have messed around with myself down there, and I have gotten orgasms with my partners with combined penetration and some down there action, but when alone, I can't go all the way. I always stop myself from having an orgasm. I find pleasure with what I'm doing, but never let myself go, and I don't know why. I get in the zone pretty quickly, but can't go all the way. I guess I'm afraid maybe. I can't really describe the feeling, honestly. I don't come from a religious background, so it's not at all a God is watching kind of thing. And also, I guess this is relevant. I can't do it alone without watching porn. I can disconnect from porn, but not start without it, which I don't know if it's weird. My boyfriend is amazing, but I feel that I should get the same effect with me, myself, and I. Also, when he's doing it to me, I have a hard time letting go, and though I am getting better at it. I have spoken about this with him, and he's very comprehensive, and he's also helping me letting go, and I'm calling to get advice on the whole situation, and how can I not be afraid of whatever I'm feeling, and do it all the way by myself, and if this is a normal thing. Love the podcast. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
God.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Okay. Bye. That was great. I love how clear and concise you are.
I love it.
You're an earth sign. You have to be.
You're Capricorn. You make lists,
I was going to say, it's a Capricorn or a Virgo. It's being like, here's what this is all the evidence. I've tried to figure it out on my own. Here's my hypotheses. Would love your intake.
Listen, people send me like their full charts now because I always guess this stuff on my podcast.
You know, I turn off most people's like retweets and replies. I don't turn off yours. A, because you're very funny, but also because the people who follow you are also equally funny. And so there's just so much astrology bullshit of people being like, dragged me. And you're like, hey, bitch, I will. And
listen, I have so much fun.
Love it.
Aw,
it's a good
you.
time.
Thank you. I'm glad this question brought us closer together too.
What are your thoughts on this?
Okay, so this is interesting. First of all, I want you to let go of the idea of what normal is, because this concept of like, I don't know if this is how I'm doing this is the right way. Clearly the right way. I think starting off with porn is fine. I think it sounds like you've noted it. There's a control issue, right? Like you don't want to let go. And so I'm sure watching porn, you're watching something else happening. And so you feel like you're an observer as opposed to being like the main center of it. And so you can probably let go a little bit, dissociate yourself a little bit, and then you're getting closer to your orgasm that way. So I think that's totally a fine way to start. A lot of people start off watching porn. I occasionally watch porn if I'm just like, I don't have any good memories or good I don't have anything in my mind right now that's really getting me there, and I just want in and out, you know. And so I think explore that. Like if you can get all the way and you can make yourself come watching porn the whole way through, that's the first step. Like now you know that you can get there, and then it's peeling it back and figuring out how to do that without all of these kind of extras involved. It sounds to me, you know, you're getting to a certain point and then you're kind of letting go of getting there. You're pulling yourself back. And I think that there are a lot of things that could be happening. Again, I always go back to if there's any kind of trauma that's happened, or if there's a situation, not even necessarily traumatic in like a sexual way, but in your family, in your life in general, where maybe you're so scared of giving up that control of
something
relaxing.
You don't know. Yeah.
And it sounds like you even struggle to do that with your partner, and your partner is trying to help you. And I also would recommend different toys. They have toys now that literally like move, pivot, spin,
do backflips.
I mean,
on your clip.
All kinds of things. And so, you know, I can get myself off with just my hands, but I do prefer
so much effort.
I do. Yeah, it takes much longer.
I'm
I have
to be honest, I can, but I
don't want to.
Time, I'll give up.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Like, this is taking too long.
I know. Sometimes it's so much better.
I'm just gonna go to bed. I'm done.
Yeah.
It's so much effort.
It's like reserved for like when I'm traveling and I couldn't bring anything with me, and I'm just like I have to figure this out. But even then, I'll probably be like, it's not worth it. I'll orgasm when I get home. It's fine. And so I think maybe that's part of it. Of like maybe you know, when you have someone else doing something to you, you're coming with your partner, it's because you can you're not in control of everything, you're letting go. And so maybe you need to mess around with some toys that will, or your partner too, with toys that will let you have kind of hands off, lay back, enjoy it, relax.
Our favorite sex toy, the crescendo, is very hands off.
Yeah, crescendo. There you go.
You don't have to touch anything.
See a whole recommendation.
It wraps around you.
It does. I relate to this though. This is very much me before the first time, because I have, surprise to no one, I have massive control issues. Like I know. Is it a shocker?
Would have guessed.
Isn't it so wild and weird? I am like a control freak, and I didn't masturbate until I was like 20, 21 maybe. And no, that's not, I didn't actually come masturbating until I was probably like 21-ish. But I had tried many of times, and that was my thing, is like I would get in my head, and then it would be like, okay, I'm done. Yeah. And here's the part that I think you need. I think like porn is great. I don't know if this is a very specific recommendation, and this is the first time I ever had an orgasm. I don't know if you have a bathtub, but there is something combined with, and this is like a part that will help me if I'm having control issues in anything, is noise. I need noise that's not my mind. I need water running, and I will play like fucking rap music at the same time. And it's nothing that I'm not listening to the lyric. I just like, I need all of this other stimulation. It's the same thing with like, I can't work out at home. I can't do a quiet workout. I need to be somewhere that's not my house. I need to be like, there needs to be like dimmed lights, and I need loud music. Otherwise, like I can't focus. Also, I have ADHD, so I need lots of stimulation in order to do one thing. Otherwise, I'm not.
Maybe having
directed.
another person with her is why she's able to get off, because there's something else to distract from
that
her
you
mind.
can think about and you can see, and there's all of that other stuff. But if it's literally you laying in bed and it's quiet and it's just you in your hands and you're kind of watching porn, that I would have a very hard time coming with that, even as somebody who regularly comes. So I think like if you have a bathtub and you can position yourself there, I would also say the thing about like, I don't know what you're using, but also if you're getting I don't want to say afraid, but you're stopping yourself before you get there, you might be it's too much actual like physical pressure you're feeling like it is like out of control in a way. There are many different kinds of orgasms of like building up to it. And if you can find, and I think a toy would be a really great way to get there and build that way, because if it is too much like physical pressure and it's too intense too fast, because you're saying you get there pretty quickly and then you don't. If you've like fucking pounded on that clip, but I'm like, oh, I don't want to, I'm like, this is like, it can be like, it's an overwhelming sensation, and it's it's like a visceral natural reaction to be like, oh my God.
your body is tensing
from
up.
That because it's like, oh no, whoa, what, like if it's too much too fast, you need to build yourself into it.
I mean, maybe use this as an opportunity to start messing around with edging. You know, it sounds like that's kind of what you're naturally doing, but you're not being able to kind of enjoy it because your body is reacting in an anxious kind of way of like, there's something happening too fast and I'm freaking out, and there's already control issues, so it's all just adding to each other. But I think like, if you get to, listen, we've all done that, where you get to a place and you're like, I'm so close, and then the battery dies on the toy, and you're like scrambling in your drawer, like, does anything have charge in it? Oh my God.
That was me last week, and I was so pissed.
It's the worst.
Are you fucking kidding me?
It's the absolute worst. But like, you know, and then there's that disappointment of like, oh, I'm not gonna be able to get back there again. I would just take a minute, take a break, get some lube, go back to work, and just enjoy the process a little bit more. Don't feel like, you know, see how far you can get each time. You can get a little bit further. If you spend the whole day, I mean, take all day by all means, and you're just getting close enough and you're feeling it, but then you're backing off. Just pay attention to your body throughout it. Don't add so much extra pressure to yourself. If I'm not being able to do it myself, you know, listen, you started touching yourself and having sex young. I did too. I was touching myself. I mean, listen, I'm Scorpio. I was touching myself at like 10 years old. I still have a very clear memory of like the first time I touched my clit. In my room, I had these like mirror sliding doors, and I remember just like looking at myself. I had no one in my family in the Midwest to tell me anything about anything. So they would just buy me these books with like diagrams, and I would figure it out. And I remember touching my clit and peeing myself instantly. Like the feeling of just like, I didn't expect it. It was so like, what is happening? And then obviously learning and figuring that out with that process. But again, I would say that look back and see. The question is, did she say she's ever been able to get off by herself?
She has. No, she's not by herself.
Not by herself.
Partners.
So even when you were young, you were touching yourself, but not able to get off.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, I think and I think that the thing I'm hounding on now is that you can start getting there really quickly, but it's just not finishing there. So I don't think how you've been doing that, I don't think you should get there really quickly because I think that's not working. So I think like
it panics you.
Yeah. Watch porn. Don't even touch yourself. Say like, play a game with yourself. I'm going to watch like 40 minutes and I'm not going to touch myself.
Oh yeah. Wait till you're so turned on that you like have to touch yourself. Don't just start off touching yourself right away and like build yourself in the process really quickly.
Like get yourself super turned on and play that game with yourself of being like, and then you keep watching, you find something else that's super sexy and you're like getting like really aroused and turned on before you even start touching yourself and stimulating. Because I think that's what you need to get there first. Because I think your mindset isn't in the mindset of sexy. So then when the physical sex, like it's physically like, oh, you're going to come, your mind's not there. So you're like, what are you doing? Stop.
You're just looking for a release. And so I think that there's more into the process that's happening. And you might start unraveling things that are unprocessed or undealt with or just that are coming up during sex that luckily, like with a partner, you're distracted and it goes there quickly. And so it happens. But with yourself, it's just hard to quiet it. And so, compassion, take time, figure out edging. And I understand the pressure, though, of feeling like if I don't have a partner, how am I ever going to get off? Yeah. If I don't know how to do it myself. And I don't think it's a matter of not knowing how to do it yourself. You know how to do it. It's just a matter of releasing and letting go enough to let it just finish out without you, controlling every part of it. And you probably control a lot of things in your life too. So this is probably like a bigger issue that's happening and it's just finding itself right now. Your focus is on getting yourself off by yourself.
And feel sexy when you masturbate. I think that's something that like we can do it as like, I don't want to say a chore, but like I need to fall asleep. Let me go do this. But there's also something when you're having sex with a partner and you're really enjoying it, hopefully, and most likely you're feeling really sexy and you're feeling really turned on. And if it's just you don't need to feel silly of being like, oh my God, like touch yourself, like make
vocalize.
Literally,
like, do you live by yourself? Just like everyone's out, the roommates are out for the day. Just like be loud about it. Like have a performance.
Exactly.
Of
like
it.
You are sexy. It's not like, oh, I'm masturbating and I'm gonna come. It's like, no, I'm fucking hot. Like I'm so hot. Like I think you need to feel that sexiness, and I think that's also gonna get you in that mindset more.
Talk yourself through it as it's coming up. Like cheer yourself on, okay, and talk to yourself the way that you would want a partner to talk to you as you're getting close.
Yeah.
That's my suggestion.
But I'm excited for you because it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. And then,
I would like an update.
Yeah. It's going to be great.
It's going to be a really good time.
We're excited for you.
Best of luck on your endeavors. I hope you take an entire day this weekend to
please take the whole weekend.
And our boyfriend will be like, for sure. Oh my God. Yeah. I'll go play putt-putt with my friends. You have fun. If you want a snack, you good?
Water break?
Yeah. I love it.
Electrolytes?
True.
I am calling because I need some advice on what to do in my relationship. My fiancé and I have been together for over 2 years now, and we are recently engaged. However, a couple of weeks ago, I received an anonymous email from someone, not sure who, as it didn't have a name, but in it were screenshots of my fiancé on a fetish website, where I later discovered that he had talked to several girls, all of which were naked and, into, I guess, crazy stuff. I didn't see any fetishes specifically. But that on top of later finding out that he had a secret Snapchat where he talked to ex-girlfriends, random girls, and then I also found out that he was exchanging nude pictures of girls with another guy. So he would send nude pictures of girls he had. The other guy would send pictures he wanted to see. And I also found out that he actually sent some of me, which was really upsetting. So I guess I'm just trying to get some advice on how to move forward. I love him and want to try and work through this, but I have always in the past just left when I've been cheated on and haven't put up with this kind of behavior because loyalty and faithfulness is something that's really important to me. But, he swears he's not going to do it again, and that he's given up pretty much any freedoms and says, I can do whatever to make myself feel comfortable, but it's just hard to look past this and look at him the same. So I guess I just need some advice on what to do about that and how to work through this. I have a hard time because a lot of the girls were, you know, his exes or people he works with. So it's like I have a hard time trusting him to even leave the house, which is really frustrating and gives me a lot of anxiety. So I just don't know how to move forward. Any advice you guys could give me would be great. We have gone to counseling before because, long story short, his family is very toxic and has been hard to deal with throughout our relationship. So we've gone to therapy for that. And while I like therapy, I don't think that it can really help me in this situation, simply because I don't think talking about it will get me through this. I really just don't know how to trust after this. But like I said, I want to try and make this relationship work. So can someone change? Is this something we can look past?
I'm sorry. I just don't think going to therapy and talking about it will help.
But you call into a podcast.
Where all we do is preach therapy, but also more than that. I don't trust him. I don't know how to trust him, but I don't want to talk about it.
The reason why you feel like talking about it in therapy won't work is because therapy and talking about it hasn't given you the answer you desperately want.
Yeah.
And that is not the point of it. You're going to hear the things that you don't want to hear and see the things you don't want to see. What it sounds like is you've been in a lot of relationships. You've been cheated on a lot. You got into this one, seemed good enough. You could deal with a toxic family and some family counseling 2 years in and get engaged. And now all of a sudden we're finding this entire secret life. Listen, there's nothing wrong with fetish. There's nothing wrong with any of that stuff. But there is something wrong with a partner hiding stuff from you. This email did not come from him letting you know. This email came from someone anonymous that felt morally obligated in some kind of way to let you know what was going on. He's not only, and it's not even just he's on fetish websites talking to people, which some people, that would be a violation and cheating for some. It's not that he's meeting up and doing all these other things. He's sending photos of women without their consent to other men, including photos of you. And I think you said people that he works with.
Yeah.
And so this is a person who, I'm not shocked that he comes from a toxic family because this shit has been passed down. And I'm sure, I bet his dad did this to his mom. I see it all so clearly. This is someone who is not being honest with you, who's not being upfront about the things that they're interested in, who is violating your, not just your trust, but actually violating you in general by sending photos.
All of these other women.
And all of these other women that you don't know, I'm sure that their photos are being sent around. And he has no real explanation for it. He's kind of just like, well, we'll go to counseling and I'll stop doing it for now. Let me tell you what, as someone who I don't even speak to my father because he does this kind of shit, it will not change. People can change, but people have to want to change. And if someone's not stepping up saying, I have a problem, I've been doing this thing, I want to come to you and I want to start our life anew and fresh, and give you the opportunity to feel the way you feel. And if you don't want to be with me, I understand that because I violated you and what I've done. That's not someone to build a life with. This idea of I'm going to steamroll through. I'm just going to we'll just fix it. We'll hold on to it. You are holding on to absolutely nothing. You are holding on to a vision of what you wish you had and what you thought you had by just getting to the point where you got asked to be married.
Yeah.
And again, anything that's happening in your relationship before you get married is going to exponentially grow once you're past that. And then your lives are connected financially, spiritually, otherwise. And it's such a mess that you're looking to get into because of what's going on with you. That's not everything that he's doing completely fucked up, but we have to focus on you.
Yeah.
And why do you feel that you deserve to be with someone who's not going to be honest with you, with themselves, and is going to jeopardize the lives of other people? And that's only what you know.
Yeah.
That's only what you've seen. Please do not spend the rest of your life checking someone's social media and their phones and their emails and wondering what they're doing when they're not home, they're not coming home on time. It is a stress that you do not need. There are too many people in this world that you will have a great time with, who will love you in the way you want to be loved, and who at the bare minimum will be honest with you about what they're into and what they want to do with just you. So I would take this as a huge red fucking flag and run. And before I went, if I were so inclined, I'd make him delete every fucking photo he has of me, of everyone. I want to see computers, hard drives, phones, all of that.
Cloud.
Dropbox, the cloud, everything. And I want him to know that if any of these photos get out, I will be going to the police if I'm not already going to talk to the authorities, because everything that he's doing, fucking correct.
Yeah. I think I literally have goosebumps from that. That was fantastic.
Thank you. I blacked out.
I saw it in your eyes at one point, and I was like, she's got this.
I'm telling you, I am in a family right now that has been broken apart by a man who is, I mean, this is times a million physical evidence of doing things. But the main contributing thing is that if someone does not want to change and is not doing it of their own accord, being pressured or pushed into having to confess something, but only what's been put out there, you are going to spend the rest of your life not trusting them. You're already bringing baggage in from your other relationships, right? Because you've been cheated on a bunch. And now you're in the ultimate cheating relationship right before you're about to marry them. Take this as a gift. This is a gift that you've been given, that you now know who this person is, and you do not have to stay with them.
And this is always who he's been. And I think this boils down to, and I don't want to say this like lightly, because I truly think this is what you're feeling. If you realize it, I think you're really embarrassed. And I think that sounds like a frivolous feeling. Yeah. But that's earth shattering. I think you're probably fucking mortified that this person who you loved, and like you said, you thought this was the new leaf. You thought this was everything. You had the white picket fence in your head, and he turned out to be like all of that. And I think you're embarrassed that you fell for that guy again.
You'd rather go into the marriage just being like, well, I'll fix it. We'll fix it behind closed doors, than feel the judgment of, wow, why did he have to go? Why did he do this? And listen, it's going to be more embarrassing in the long run. And ultimately, I would rather you be a little embarrassed now than tether your life to someone who does not care about you.
Well, let's talk about more embarrassing when his coworkers find out and press legal charges. And you're a wife.
Do not marry this person because your shit is connected to him and he's going to jail at some point.
This is the thing. Like, if it's 2 years in, this is the stuff that you know. There's 10 times as much as you know. And 2 years in, like, here's what this is the other thing. Mott's and I go to couples therapy every week. I love it. It's the greatest thing ever. And you don't stop going to therapy. So the idea of, the toxic family, but then we stopped. You don't stop. And I'm going to be honest. I'm assuming he was like, let's stop because this is not helping us, because let's just do it
with ourselves, babe.
Because I'm sure what happened is it brought up a lot of stuff and you guys were fighting and and I'll be honest. Oh my God. The first couple months Mats and I went to therapy, I was like, I loved our therapist, but I was like, I fucking hate this. I'm crying for hours and all this is doing is making me feel worse. And then it was like, it has to get worse before it gets better. We're unpacking all of this stuff and it's triggering to unpack. And I think that's what happens is that's what you guys were doing. And he was like, no, this isn't working. Let's be done. And sweeping it under the rug. And this is just like, this is not even just, hi, I don't care about you and I'm a misogynistic dick. It's like, I'm a misogynistic dick to the point of I'm going to commit crimes and potentially go to jail. And do you want to be the wife of the guy who's been sending naked photos? Like, that is that's, if anything, is the most embarrassing thing. And also, not to come at you, but like, as a woman, how are you okay with marrying a man who's been so disrespectful? If you don't care about yourself, that's one thing, but so disrespectful to all of these other women that don't know that these are being distributed. How I would not be able to sleep at night knowing the fact that there are naked pictures being sent around of women without their consent and being like, holy fucking shit. Like, how? I'm not looking out for that.
Yeah. I mean, listen, there's probably, what I'm gathering from this, I bet whether they admit it or not, there's an element of fear in the sense of, if I leave him, will he release my photos, right? Because he has photos of you. We don't know. I'm going to guess that this man is, I got a lot of thoughts about him, but, that
he has a mullet in my head.
You fight with him to a point or you argue with him to a point and it gets vindictive. And he's obviously not someone that can be trusted with private information, much less his place in the world. So what I would say is 2020, there are laws in place now for revenge porn and things popping up. And this is not the road you want to go down. This is, I'll say it again, this is a gift. I know it feels embarrassing. I know it's hard to call off a wedding, to admit that there's this whole other life you found that your partner has. But you please don't commit the next 40, 50 years of your life to someone that can't even be honest with you for 2.
Yeah.
You know, it's just the math doesn't add up. And what it really comes down to is how you feel about yourself and how you feel about yourself in relation to the relationships that you've had. Because you just are hoping that this will figure itself out. But the things that you're saying about therapy won't work and like talking won't work.
Like,
you sound abused.
That's the part that I'm like, do you hear yourself of being like, no, therapy's not like, what do you think we're going to say? You're calling into a podcast.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think we're going to tell you that there's a magic wand? We're like, okay, so if you go to this babbling brook and you drink this elixir, your mind will be cleared. Like literally, what do you think that there's like a secret code out there? And also, I don't think you do.
With something like 5 million podcasts, finding a really good one can take a ton of time. So let me recommend one. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in each episode, we discuss topics that can be really helpful, like how to read people better, the psychology of crowds, or fun things like the story of Legos, or why you probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for horses. Something You Should Know is the name of it, wherever you get your podcasts.
Think that. I think he's put this idea in your head and being like, come on, let's move on. And you're like, if he keeps saying move on, why can't I move on? What's wrong with me? What is it, that thing I need to do? And he's like, well, therapy doesn't help here. Therapy doesn't help. What can I do to move on? There's a thing I need to do to move on. I need to ask somebody because it's a thing, because he's talking about it. I'm not doing it. How can I do it?
I don't know if this man is the example of what therapy does or doesn't do. Like, I don't think I'm taking his advice on what we should be doing as a couple or as a household.
Yeah.
Because he can't, as a person, stand up and be the man that he should be for you, honestly.
And also, how do you feel about the fact that he's sending these to his friends? Like, these are also people you know. Do you trust these guys? Do you like these? Like, what?
They can be sending them to other people too.
That's what I mean.
Again, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it's just, regardless of the specifics of what's happened, it's a huge violation of your trust and of your person. And I think regardless of how you feel your emotions and you're tied up with this person, but your higher self has to want more for where you are right now. And you have to look ahead and say, I'm not even married to this man yet. Do I want to be running behind him, making sure he's not doing what he might be doing because he did it once? Yeah. Do I want to be consistently checking on someone? Do I want to be afraid that when someone walks in the house for a party that they've seen me naked without my consent? I hope the answer is no. I hope I'm saying these things, you're hearing it and you're thinking, I don't want that life and I want better for myself. And even if you don't feel like you can do it right now, that you're not there, you need to mom yourself. You need to like parent yourself. You need to step in place for the person that is willing to walk down the aisle with someone who is violating them, and trust that getting out of the situation, and once you have clarity, and once you have some closure, and once you start healing, you should be going to therapy on your own. Don't let this man tell you what therapy does. Don't believe that talking about it's not going to help. You're crying out right now for help. And I hope that you hear exactly what we're saying in the way that we're saying it, because I think this is a journey you have to go on by yourself. And I want better for you, and I don't even know you. So I think the best thing you're going to do for yourself is want more for you than you've accepted.
Mm-hmm. And if you can't, would you give your little sister this advice? Like, what if this is your best friend, your little sister? If you can't look at yourself in that situation, put somebody else who you love and care about so much.
Yes.
Would you want them to go through all of this? And this is you're never going to listen after this. He doesn't love you. Like, you love him so much, and you can't love someone enough for the both of you.
That's true.
And it is so incredibly painful and so incredibly hard. But people who love you don't do this. And I think you're kind of treating this as like, this isn't normal.
He doesn't put the dishes away.
That's
like
what
that.
I mean.
It has like the same energy as that. And that's incorrect.
And then that's the part I'm like, so you're so desensitized to this. I can't imagine the shit that you've been through.
Yeah.
And this is something that like, if you've been in like bad relationship, I dated a string of drug dealers for a point. And then I finally was like, my picker's off. I need to take a break and reevaluate all of this, because why am I attracted to this? Because I keep ending up in the same situation. And I think you need to understand that you might love him so much, but no matter what he says and how much he says he loves you, his actions have proven clearly different that he doesn't. And to be honest, he might not ever be. And I don't think he will never be capable of loving you. And it's something that like, if he wanted to change and fix it, therapy, and that's also pisses me off. You were in therapy for his like toxic family
stuff, but
and
not
he
for
could have
him.
had the opportunity in like a neutral place to talk about that and bring that up with you, or even continue going and hopefully feel better enough to talk about it. Or even the second you found all of that stuff, make an appointment with the therapist and be like, I feel so bad. We need to figure this out. And he's already gaslighting you, being like, if it'll make you, I'll do whatever. And you said like, he'll give up
away
his
my
freedom, which you know is a line that he fed her. You did not say, oh, I want you to take away your freedom. He said that. Yeah. And you're like, that's so nice. He's offering that. That's passive aggressive and gaslighting. And then he's like, whatever you need, whatever's going to make you feel better, whatever you need me to do. Well, here's the thing. You shouldn't be doing that. A, it's illegal in general, but he's putting this on you as if this is your fault that you feel badly about this.
I'm going to give up my freedom as a gift to you. First of all, I don't want to walk around the rest of my life constricting you to make sure that you don't do the things that you're going to do. I want to be able to trust you as a partner. I want to know that when I leave town, I don't have to worry about you texting a bunch of people and not telling me.
He's like, I'm going to shit everywhere unless you clean it up.
Exactly. And so I think also there's this danger of like, and we're seeing a string of similar situations, right, with a bunch of cheating. And so we have a lot of women who are like, but is it true that people can change? And they're hoping for it. They're trying to save someone. They're trying to like, he's good enough if we can just fix these like rough parts. And the thing is, people absolutely change, whether they want to or not. But are they going to change in the way that you need them to change to be a good partner to you is a different question. And that requires a sense of accountability and proactiveness that this person has not shown you. So listen, famous quote of like, believe people when they show you who they are.
Yeah.
But believe people when the emails and the photos show you who they are.
And
stop
if he was
messing around with it.
If he was gonna change, he already would have. And if he wanted to, he would have. And
I bet he uses his family as an excuse to why he doesn't.
Yeah.
He cries about what his father did to his mother and he never wants to be like that. And then you have to comfort him for being a piece of shit. Please don't get into this.
No.
I guarantee you go into therapy, they're going to start breaking into what you're going through and what you've dealt with. And I bet you try to save people.
Yeah.
I bet you try to come in and I can handle it. I can deal with it. It's going to be fine. And you're comforting people that are hurting you. And that is not good.
No, you're calling it love. And I think that's the issue. And if you grew up in a toxic environment,
absolutely,
and that was like, oh, this is what love is. This makes sense.
Just stick
to
it
me.
out.
And that's what it's just not that. And I think, like you said, people can change, but you have nothing to do with it. I also just want you to stand in front of a mirror and say, therapy doesn't help. Talking about it won't help. And realize how
over and over
again. And then realize, I promise you'll probably start crying.
Yes.
And realize how fucking dumb that sounds.
Yeah.
And then realize if talking about it won't help, what's supposed to help?
No.
And then nothing's supposed to help. I'm supposed to feel like this forever.
Yeah, I just deal with it. This is not a normal part of relationships.
No.
This is not a normal part of marriages or partnership, which is the main thing there. And I promise you, it's not just, I'm looking your family too. There's something in there that's told you that you have to accept, that you have to stay, that you have to deal with, that it's your duty, that it's your job, that this is how it goes. And we are telling you that is not.
No, it's not a prerequisite. Like, it's not a part of any other relationships. It's not like, well, I put these 2 years in. You're like, oh, well, yeah, the next guy, you're not going to have to deal with this. Like,
it's not wasted time.
No.
Please don't stay in things because you're like, well, I spent 2 years and we just got to push through.
And if it's not this, it's going to be another thing. Maybe it's that they're messy. maybe it's that they've got bad BO. Maybe it's not things. That they're sending naked. Like, this is such an extreme.
Of the realm.
You're never going to find someone. You're never going to accidentally stumble upon another person who's done all of these same things. Like, this is he's
unreal.
An epitome of a piece of shit. And I love you, but don't be dumb, because if you stay with him, it's so fucking dumb. And your friends and everybody around you is probably screaming inside, being like, don't be a fucking dumb bitch. Yeah. Don't bring kids into the world with this. Do not have this guy be a father. Don't get intertwined with this, because he's just not only going to fuck up your life. And if you're consenting him to fuck up your life, do not consent for that for your kids. Because your future children did not ask for that. ugh.
Yeah, no. I mean, listen, that's a not fun situation to be in. That's awful. And I understand that you're coming off the tail end of a bunch of trauma into this, and so you're just trying to make it make sense.
You're living it. That's the part that's scary.
But you have to see the chaos for what it is, and you are the only person that can get yourself out of this. And so if writing into a podcast and saying these things to us and hearing the response isn't pushing you in that direction, I'm nervous. I'm scared for you because the reality is that someone that sits and says therapy doesn't work, talking doesn't work, is someone that eventually is going to stop talking to their friends, stop talking to their family, become isolated, become overrun, deal with everything on their own. And then you're going to wake up one day exhausted with a man who's cheating on you, who's doing horrible things, who's violating your trust. And you're going to have no space for yourself. Value yourself enough to get out of what doesn't serve you.
I love how this started with fetish websites. I'm like, ooh, what fetish?
Yeah, we were into it. We were like, ooh, feet? Like, what's going on? How can we incorporate that into your sex life? And now it's like, oh, no, if he disappears forever, that's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Holy shit. Well,
ooh, wow.
Is it time for...
Don't blame them.
Okay, so this is where other callers will call in with their own advice from previous episodes if they have their own experience.
Okay.
So the last episode we recorded, it was a Karen, and she was annoying.
This one.
Is she a fucking Karen too?
No, but I think you should share with Megan.
Yeah, give me a rundown.
This is
oh shit.
Yeah, break it down.
This is from
She's
the
got
episode.
her smug face on, so I know it's gonna be good.
This is from the episode that you and I did in February. The original caller had
oh shit.
Gotten pregnant by her stepbrother.
Yeah. Oh, shut the fuck up. Didn't I make a joke in that episode of being like, no, I think I made it off camera where I was like, no way anyone can call in relating to this one.
Okay. Yeah. So this person hasn't been through the exact thing, but her friend has.
Oh my God. Wow. Is everyone fucking their stepbrother?
Yeah.
Jesus.
But to give her credit in the original call, before she started, she goes, get ready for some Alabama type shit.
Self-aware. We love it.
got ready, but I wasn't ready for that much. I was like, Alabama, okay. And then I was like, oh, you mean incest.
Hey guys, I'm calling, not with personal experience, but I do have a friend who went through this, and I talked to her about it, and she said since it's anonymous, she'd be fine with me talking about it. But it's about your recent M&M episode about the girl who's hooking up with her stepbrother. So my friend she actually lost her virginity to her stepbrother. But they had become step-siblings at around 7, but they weren't living in the same house until they were both, she was 16 and he was 17, but they went to high school and stuff. And that's when they lived in the same house. But before, they didn't even live in the same state or anything like that. He lived with his bio mom, and she lived with the stepdad and her bio mom, that sort of thing. And so then when they started living together, when she was 16, she was living in their garage, garage turned room type thing. And they ended up hooking up, and ended up hooking up a lot. And when she first told me, I was kind of oof, that sounds it sounds to y'all's point, it's just a little bit weird. And I think it was really confusing for her, especially going to high school and growing up, and she didn't have really a lot of boy experience. Before then, I don't even think she'd had her first kiss. I don't even think she'd had a boyfriend at that point when they started to actively hook up. And I told her, me and one of our other friends, we ended up telling her that maybe she should talk to the guidance counselor at school about it, because I said, we were in high school. And so she ended up talking to her guidance counselor, and her guidance counselor ended up telling her parents. And what her parents did was they moved him out of their house, and he moved back to where he was from before. And her parents started to get her counseling, and she realized the reason she was acting out that way was because she was having other problems at home, and it was her kind of way of she figured out it was her kind of way of rebelling against her parents, and even just the divorce and everything happening in general. And that she realized she was still really unhappy about that. And so she thought the best way to do it was to do something kind of taboo that would come back and hurt her family eventually. So moral of the story is, I guess, go to therapy. It's not the end of the world, but Megan and Melissa said, there's probably a deep underlying issue as to why you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Also, I want to note the difference in parenting here, because those parents, and that's what I mentioned in the first call, that I was like, there's a trauma issue here because the parents kicked them both out, both her and the brother.
They were sharing a room.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
and that I'm like, you protect your kids. Do not have them share. We don't know. We didn't know the ages of when they started sharing a room, but the response was to kick them both out. This is such a different parenting being like, this is a 17-year-old boy, a 16-year-old girl. Also, guidance counselor, that's what they should do. They're minors. And also, to be fair, even if they're the same, even if they don't know the age of it, this is a minor who is now, I'm being told, is having sex at home, which is...
Dude, that's a whole new level. Like, mom and dad, you're mean to me, so I fucked my brother. Like, that's just another level of vindictive, like with the intention of that.
And it's also, but I think about that, like, because in the original call, we were talking about that age when you're a teenager and you don't, it's kind, I would like, you've got like feet, like cisgender feet, like we've got female have the hormones and all of those puberty changes, like 12, 13, but there's another, like, I think that's physical, but also emotional of like end of high school sort of thing of being like, everything is like this hypersexualized media. Like I'm like starting to like, these aren't just like me touching myself urges. There's other people involved. And like, I've got all of this anger. I can't communicate my feelings, like all of that. I'm like, this makes...
I also think that like as a parent, especially if I were like combining my family with another family and we have teenagers, this is just something I feel like you have to be aware of, that you're going to have children that are not blood related. They're living under the same roof, that have hormones and urges and they're vindictive about certain things. And then you're putting them in a room together and it seems like no one's having a fucking conversation about like what we expect under this roof. You want to fuck each other, you fuck each other when you're 18 and you're living on your own. Like, you know, and so I think that they're also kind of being set up to fail in like her friend's scenario. But yeah, it obviously comes down to when you see the situation happening, being like, okay, well, we need to kind of separate you two and have you in therapy and figure out what's going on and where this is coming from.
That's what I did not think anyone was going to relate to that call.
I think this is way more common.
That's
than
what
we
I
think.
said, because
it's
there's
incredibly
a whole
common
section of porn about this.
Yeah.
Like,
well, yeah, the taboo of incest for sure.
But like step-sibling porn is like a thing.
Yeah, that's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Well, I know it's like they do it in Gossip Girl, but they're also
they do that in so many shows. By the way, there's so many.
That's
listen,
like full siblings.
Even though, listen, I first saw the show Firefly back today. I saw a fan video for it, and I saw River and Simon, and I thought they were fucking. And then I watched the first episode, and I'm like, oh my god, they're related. And then the entire show is just like, okay, I don't want to ship them because I can't. But like, also, how can I write the fan fiction so that they're not actually blood related to make it okay? So
I used to watch that show.
Listen, I think it's very common. I think it's and then you get into a whole situation too when they're growing up together and you're like, is this actually a consensual relationship or is there sexual abuse happening here?
Because I think when I think about it in the sense of like, I think there, in order for that to happen, not always, but my automatic instinct is there's sexual abuse on both sides. I don't see either one of
potentially.
That's the part that I'm like, I don't see like a young boy coming on to his young, like his like step sibling who's in there, like let's say like 13, 14. I don't see either of that happening without both of them having had sexual abuse in the past.
Yeah,
like
it's possible.
Because that's and that's the part that I think the callback, her parents did a great job of being like, let's get you into counseling, let's figure all of this stuff out. Versus the original caller where it was like, you're both kicked out of the house. You can't live here anymore.
Just please don't be putting teenagers together in a room. Just let them have their own space if it's possible.
Even
and
just protect their privacy, not their physical well-being. Protect their comfortability. Like,
honestly. And it's such an interesting topic too. Because the base of it should just be, there's no dating under this roof, okay? It's not happening in the house, all right? Whatever you do when you go off in the world, you figure it out. But here, now, not happening.
You can't date anyone that we share this carpool with.
Yes, fair.
That's, no.
Fair. But, wow. Sometimes things give me perspective. I'm like, there could be problems that I have that I don't have.
I thought she was crazy for thinking this happens a lot, but you also think this...
I think it's way more common.
Wow.
I think it's very common because, well, first of all, I think in general of sexual abuse within families, that's incredibly common. Yeah. And I think you have people that are minors that don't really understand their relationships with their bodies. They don't really understand their relationships with their hormones, what they're feeling, what, they feel is right or wrong. Nothing's being kind of dictated to them. And so I think that they're exploring. They're trying to figure out what's going on. And I think that it's part parenting, it's part what can happen, but I just think it's way more common, especially with like step sibling stuff, when it's like in their head, they're thinking, oh, well, we're not blood related. So
yeah.
And it's easy. Like it's right there.
Yeah.
That is...
And you never know how those kids are going to bond.
You're making me think of every single person I know in high school who had step siblings who were also teenagers now.
That's a lot. That's a lot. And getting pregnant by, oh God,
I know.
It's a whole other, man.
Well, that's it for our episode. Megan, plug your shit. Where can people find you?
You can find me Meghan Tonjes on most things. I have a podcast comes out every Wednesday with my friend Michelle Moore called No Lies Detected. And listen, you type my name on iTunes, you're going to find podcasts, but you're also going to find music.
You are so fantastic. And I've told you this. I think I told you the first time you were on that you were one of the first people I think you must have been one of like the first 3 channels I ever subscribed to on YouTube.
Oh my God.
And I never unsubscribed. You have the most beautiful voice.
Thank you.
And it's not, obviously your voice wouldn't change over like the time or whatever, but I don't think a lot of people continued doing just like filming yourself singing in your bedroom kind of videos for like this long.
Yeah.
And like
I took a little bit of a break,
wild.
but I'm easing myself back into it, you know?
But
easing myself back into
it. You're so good. You guys go listen. It's
go cry to my music. I was going through a lot of shit in my 20s.
Prepare yourself. It's some feelings.
Some sad breakup music.
Be in your feels. If you guys want to call into an upcoming episode, you can leave us a voicemail at 310-694-0976. And if you're an international listener, you can send us an audio message at meghanpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to join our Facebook group, do it. Link below. Also link below to pre-order my book. It comes out May 5th. Cinco de Mayo. And if you want to listen to this episode ad-free, Stitcher Premium. And then we also have the YouTube video version. And then iTunes, all of that fun stuff.
Oh my God, all of this stuff that she's doing for you.
So much stuff, really. And we have an Instagram where I spend a lot of time and effort making edits that like 14-year-old girls usually make, but I'm enjoying it.
I love it.
And we'll see you guys next time. Come on.
Bye.
Don't Blame Me is a production by me. Executive produced by Melissa DeMonts. Camera operator Amanda Lechner. And music by Ryan Hunter and Giacomo Picasso.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey, y'all. I'm JJ.
Hey, guys. It's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests to share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
Contained herein are the heresies of Radolf Buntwine, erstwhile monk turned traveling medical investigator. Join me as I study the secrets of the divine plagues and uncover the blasphemous truth that ours is not a loving God, and we are not its favored children. The heresies of Radolf Buntwine, wherever podcasts are available.